Hey guys, it's Tom here. As you can see, I've come outside today because it's a beautiful day and it actually feels like it's the first day of summer has arrived. So I thought I'd have a bit of a nicer background rather than that half-painted shed that you so often find myself in. Topic for today's video, and I'll probably have to split this video up into separate parts, is introversion and being an introvert, and most importantly, making peace with being an introvert. Because it's something that I've struggled with for years, and to be honest with you, it's only probably recently that I'm actually getting to the place where I'm starting to actually accept that I'm an introvert, and also starting to become more aware of the things that I need to do to make it easier for myself to engage with the world, and also give me that time for myself so I can really recharge my batteries and also engage in the world in a better place and from a better, more harmonious place within myself. And this is something that I think is so important for all introverts, and it seems to be something that is becoming more of gaining more of an awareness. Of course, there's Susan Cain, who has written the book Power of the Introvert, which has been so successful, and because we live in a society that does seem to have a huge bias towards extroversion and that kind of form of expression, I think for a lot of introverts, and I know for me especially, there has always been this feeling of maybe there is something wrong with you, or there is something to be ashamed of about just feeling that there are times when you just want to be away from people, or you want to have alone time, or you don't want to talk to people, you want to have that quiet time, and you need that space for yourself. And hopefully we are now emerging into a place of higher awareness where we can all start to become more aware and realize what it is that we need to do to make peace with that part of ourselves. So there's so many areas to talk about, but I want to start on the area of shyness and feeling anxiety or social anxiety. You'll have to excuse the cars going past, I'm right next to the road here. Because I think this is something that gets mixed up with or thrown in with introversion so often, and it isn't actually necessarily the case. Shyness and introversion are two separate things, even though there are a lot of times where the two can come together, and I do believe the reason that a lot of introverts may attribute shyness to themselves or feeling degrees of social anxiety is because they haven't actually accepted their introversion within themselves, or they've been taught from a very young age that their introversion is something that is not deemed acceptable either by their peers, their family, or society at large. So they've had this inner conflict, and it's actually the inner conflict within themselves that has contributed to these feelings of feeling shy, of feeling socially anxious and afraid of those kind of situations or of other people, because of the dissonance that creates within themselves, because essentially they're fighting against their own nature. And therein kind of lies the truth, and therein lies what I have had to try to make peace with, and what I am starting to make peace with now. That has been the biggest thing that I've had to try and wrap my head around, and what is so vitally important for introverts to come to that understanding, to be able to separate those two things. Because an extrovert can be shy, an extrovert can be socially anxious. You know, the two things are not mutually exclusive to introversion. So what introversion is, in my opinion, from what I feel, it's how you recharge, how you perceive the world, and how you need maybe a greater degree of space. You know, that's how I feel. I feel that for me, I just need a greater degree of space, just to kind of process things. And usually I need that space by finding some alone time, or by just not talking all the time, or feeling the need to be out there and engaging with other people. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm shy. I can be very outgoing, and I really do enjoy being around people a lot of the time. depending on the situation sometimes, and also depending on the conversation that I'm having. But one of the biggest things I've had to make peace with and come to the understanding is that I need to allow myself space and time, whether that's alone or maybe that's doing a hobby or just or doing something where I can maybe have to seclude myself from the world. I need that to recharge and to kind of get my energy back. If I'm in a situation where I'm around or in a fast-paced environment, or I'm having to interact with people all the time and feel like I'm being pulled in many different directions, it really leads me to burnout and to almost just, I can't handle it. It becomes too much. I find the overstimulation very tiring, very taxing. Doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. It doesn't mean that I can't do it. I can, but there comes a point where I have to withdraw. I just have to. Even if it's just for half an hour, just finding somewhere quiet to be alone and to just, I have to have that space, that alone time, without worrying about having to talk to people, without worrying about how I'm interacting with people, just to come back to my center. And for a long time, I've really struggled with incorporating this into my life, because, I have got this whole concept of shyness, social anxiety, introversion so twisted up. And for a long time I believed that it was because I had social anxiety, or it was because I was shy, that was the problem, and I was trying to work against those things. Well, what I've started to realize now, it's actually about accepting that I'm an introvert. And the irony is, through that acceptance, the shyness and the social anxiety becomes lessened, because you are not, like I said previously, you're not fighting against yourself anymore, and that's what really kind of causes those things. So there we go, that's part 1. Move on to part 2. Follow the link.